no cars. This is 34th Street. Where is everyone? This is too much. What's up, guys? Everyone's talking about this camera all of a sudden. Peter, Maddie have made a video about it, saying that it's the best vlogging camera, the Canon 6D Mark II. We've seen creators switching around to cameras. There was a huge shift from Canon to Sony this past year. Myself did that switch, and even Casey Neistat, who has been using the Panasonic GH5 for a very long time, I would say, has switched back to Canon. So I want to see what it's all about. The Canon 6D Mark II has actually been out for a minute. It came out in July 2017, but it's my first time to get my hands back on a Canon camera in general for a while. So I have my friend Cody here.
Konnichiwa.
Oh, very nice. He has a Canon 6D Mark II, so we're gonna put it to the test. Let's start with the specs. So I usually use a picture profile, which is an advantage to Sony cameras. You have a wide variety of flat profiles. So this is pretty flat, but I'm going to be shooting on this neutral profile for comparison sake. So this is Sony neutral.
Okay, so for this test, we have the exact same lenses for both cameras, same aperture, same focal length. This camera is $1,700. It has a 26.2 megapixel CMOS sensor, a 45-point all-cross type autofocus system, digital 5-way image stabilization, an optical viewfinder. The maximum resolution is 1920 by 1080, and you can go up to 60 frames per second. The ISO range is from 100 to 25,600, and it weighs a grand total of 1.5 pounds.
The Sony A7S II has a 12.2 megapixel CMOS sensor. It has a 5-point sensor ship image stabilization, unlike the digital image stabilization in the 6D. It has an electronic viewfinder. It can shoot up to 4K at 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second, and also 1920 by 1080 at 120 frames per second. So you can get some nice slow-mo. It's also great at low light, so it has the ISO range from 100 to 102,400. Because this is a mirrorless camera, it's much smaller and comes in at 22 ounces. No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Nope.
Unlocking. We have a special guest. He's gonna be our model.
Get him around.
Whoa. What do you think about John's yellow wall?
That just really speaks. That's John right there. It's very clear.
Exactly. So we are taking our lovely friend Dotan piano around the world.
Hey.
Oh, but we're gonna die in this elevator.
Look what's happening here.
And we are going to do a little low light slow motion test.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there just ain't no sunshine, nowhere to be found. Sometimes there just ain't no sunshine. Keep your faith. Keep your faith. Keep your faith.
So with the Canon 6D Mark II, it doesn't have an actual image stabilization.
This does, but with this camera, it literally shifts the sensor in order to stabilize it.
So it's like the sensor's on its own gimbal. But with the Canon, the sensor stays in place, but it digitally image stabilizes it.
That's why yours was a little more cropped in than mine. I
Yes.
was like, what is this?
So mine's cropped in just a little bit.
I think you committed to the role too much.
Little frame. Now we're gonna test autofocus, and as vloggers, we're always moving around and putting stuff in front of the lens to show you. So I'm just testing to see how quickly this can autofocus on things I'm putting up. bringing back to my face, scooting away.
And he gets to cheat because he has a screen. Am I in focus back here? What about now? So Canon cameras are known to have really good autofocus. They have that dual pixel AF. Sony does better than the GH5, but it's still not the best compared to Canon cameras. The A7S is gonna take longer to focus on things. Is it there yet? Is it there yet? All right, so I think we're good. And the downside when you're filming yourself, you don't have a flip screen, you really don't know if something's in focus. It'd be nice to have that tap to focus.
So the conclusion is that the Canon definitely has better autofocus.
However, the A7S, it gets the job done. I think it's decent enough. Clearly, autofocus is still not perfect in these cameras like mirrorless and DSLR. Usually point and shoots do better, like my RX 105 is meant for the more run and gun, but you're not gonna get as much bokeh as you're gonna be getting with using like professional lenses and stuff. So it's kind of like a give or take, but with a Sony, you have to have the face detection turned on, or when you're like vlogging yourself and filming, you're doing this and that, you just won't, it won't be in focus at all. Want to interrupt this programming for a very special announcement. Are you ready? I have a Skillshare class. I made a Skillshare class, how to vlog. I start from the very beginning. What camera should you use? How do you use the camera? All the way to editing and talking about the editing software that I use and the other programs that you guys can use. Skillshare is an online learning community with over 17,000 classes in photo, video, design. Right now in January, there is an insane offer where you can get 3 months of Skillshare, wait for it, for only 99 cents. It's like I'm giving you knowledge for free and 17,000 other knowledges. Premium membership allows unlimited classes so you can step up your knowledge, unlock those new opportunities. I'm always very curious about graphic design and illustration. It's something that I've never really been able to be good at, but I'm always trying to kind of learn on the side. So Erin Draplin has a fantastic class on logos, and someone like Debbie Millman, who I've actually interviewed before, she has a class. It's fantastic. Skillshare is very affordable, especially in comparison to other learning platforms out there. So for an entire year membership, it's less than $10 a month. So check out the link in the description below if you want to learn how to vlog with Sara Dietschy. I made it easy. It's only over 30 minutes, but I dive into everything you need to know. So it's probably all you have to do is sit down for like 30 minutes and you're gonna be a vlogger. Standing very far away from my camera because there's a 70 to 200 on it now. When it comes to image stabilization, the longer the lens, the longer the focal length, the more image stabilization is important. That's why when it comes to vlogging, you have a wider focal length, like a 24 to 70 or maybe a 16 to 35. That's the typical vlogging lens. Because it's wide, it's not gonna be as shaky if you're vlogging with a 70-200, because this is me up close. This isn't gonna work. I mean, I don't even think you can focus. It is 10 degrees today. Yesterday was the bomb cyclone. Today it's just like, let's be the coldest day ever. How much battery life is you? Is it? 19%.
I've only lost 1 bar all day.
All right, well, Canon has better battery too, I'll admit that. Okay, so we compared, we did some tests. Canon 60 Mark II versus the Sony A7S II. We're gonna tell you now why we chose what we chose. So why are you in the Canon family?
I mean, I think the first thing that I would like to say is my personal philosophy is that there's not really a best camera.
You have to find
Yeah.
what meets your needs.
Yeah, and if we're saying what is the best camera, then we should just stop the video now and say it's the Sony A7S because it's a more expensive camera, has more options, better for video. I do a lot of photography still, and I'm a YouTuber. I don't need 4K, one. Most of the people watching YouTube videos are watching on screens that don't even do 4K. And then the other thing for me is I already have Canon glass because that was my photo camera was Canon. So I was like, you know what, I can actually upgrade my Canon body and that will give me a great vlogging camera, a great photo camera, and this is the best camera possible for me right now.
And also something that Peter McKinnon talks a lot about is the color science of Canon. And I would agree these skin tones are gorgeous with Canon. It's almost something that you don't even have to touch or color grade. However, that kind of limits the range of looks that you can go for, but then also you can download different profiles like C-Log, right? You said you downloaded that. The A7S II is $700 more expensive, but there are so many things when it comes to video making and filmmaking that I think makes it worth it. But when it comes to vlogging and it comes to being a one-man show, sometimes that flip out screen is enough. I love slow-mo, so the fact that there is 120 frames per second at 1920 by 1080, it's like, yes, please. And then with the point and shoots, the RX100s, you can actually shoot up to 940 frames per second in the high frame rate mode, which is so clutch. I use that a lot to shoot 240 and 480.
I think for me, it's taking the package as a whole, it was I'm losing 4K and I'm losing 120 frames per second, which I love 120. It's what I have an RX100 as well. But I think ultimately, everything I'm gonna gain in this is going to be worth those few losses.
Right. So I hope this was helpful for you if you're in the market to do a little upgrade, because these are more, they're not professional cameras, but they are edging more towards that, you know? If you're just beginning, I would recommend a Canon T3i, Canon T5i, Canon 7DD. Any of the mid-tier Sonys or even point and shoots like the Sony RX100. Yeah, Cody, thank you so much for helping me out. So he has a YouTube channel, so go subscribe to Cody. Woo, 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 woo. See, is it left side?
That side.
That side, Cody's channel. Anyways, I hope this was helpful. Join the most creative family on the planet. Peachy Fam, what's up? Hit that subscribe button down below. Let me know if you like this video. Stay peachy. Okay, bye.